Let's take a little bit of time to talk about one unique feature of this room, which has an interactive touchscreen in the room. So let's talk about how we use the whiteboard feature on that touchscreen. First thing you're going to do is come up to the Microsoft Teams controller, and you're either going to join a meeting or you're going to hit Meet Now. To use the whiteboard functionality, you have to be in a meeting. Once you're in a meeting, you're going to launch the whiteboard by clicking the little Share button, and then clicking the Microsoft Whiteboard, and then sharing. That's going to launch the whiteboard feature from Microsoft Teams. Now, you'll notice that you have a kind of configuration here where the whiteboard isn't full screen, but that's because we're sharing people, so all of the participants in the meeting, we were looking at their cameras, and also the chat bubble. So in order to go full screen on the whiteboard, you're going to want to click the little layout icon and then click on Focus on Content. Now that takes the cameras out of the picture. Then you can toggle the little chat bubble off, and that'll take the chat bubble out of the picture. And now you're going to have a full screen whiteboard to work with. If you'd like to see the chat, you can toggle it back on. And if you'd like to see the far end participants, their camera image, then you can go back up and hit Gallery, Content and People, and you're back to where you started. All right, let's take a look at what it looks like on screen and how to use the whiteboard functionality. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the chat, and I'm going to focus just on the content, which is the whiteboard, and that way we have a full screen whiteboard. Okay, so you can see the Microsoft Whiteboard is ready to go. First, one of the features of this install is that on the back, you have control of lifting the screen up or down. Once the screen's adjusted, look for the pens at the bottom right-hand corner, and let's start interacting with the Microsoft Whiteboard. First thing is I'm going to choose a pen. I'll use the pen, the black color to start, and I'll go ahead and start writing content onto the screen. I can choose another pen, and once the pen is chosen, I can click on it and a menu will come up, and I can choose a different color, I can choose thickness, and I can choose transparency. And once that's done, obviously I'll be using those settings for creating the content. You can also choose the eraser, and you can erase the line stroke, or by clicking on the menu, you can also erase just a portion of the stroke. Another feature that you're going to use probably a lot is this lasso. You can lasso some content, you can drag it to different areas, you can minimize it or expand it as you see fit, and you can also just delete the whole thing. There are some other features down here that you can use, like shapes. By clicking on shapes, you can bring in different shapes into your board. One thing to notice here on the right-hand side is you have the ability to zoom in and zoom out. And so by doing that, you can kind of see that the whiteboard is almost infinite. And so a lot of content can be created on this kind of platform. I'm going to talk about one thing. You're going to notice here at the top of the screen, it says that the whiteboard is currently unsaved, and if you were to leave, you would lose all your current changes. That's because I launched a whiteboard from the room by itself, and typically when you use Microsoft Whiteboard, you're in a Microsoft Teams meeting. And that means that there are users who are joined to the meeting, and the way Microsoft works is that the whiteboards are then saved to a SharePoint Teams account, and so a user needs to be connected. So when you're joining a meeting, you won't even see that banner. If you see that banner, then you're going to want to join the meeting with your own laptop. And then when you end the call, it'll save that to a SharePoint, which you're going to be able to have access to. Now that we're done, we just simply go back to the touch screen and hit the end button, and that'll drop the call, and you can move on to your next meeting. That's how you use the Microsoft Whiteboard in your training room.